So we just come to Islay for 5 nights, 4 whole days here, and I'm going to be looking for birds and wildlife through that time. Hoping to see eagles and birds of prey, hoping to see deer, hoping to maybe see otter. Just come from Jura, saw some amazing otter there, so check out my Jura video if you've not seen that. But yeah, just going to capture the wildlife highlights of being on Islay in October. Islay on the west coast of Scotland, it's known for the quality of the winter birding, and certainly we were not disappointed. We saw loads of birds. I think we had 107 species altogether in our few days there. And if you stay to the end of this video, you're going to see the absolute highlight, which was spectacular encounters with both golden and white-tailed eagle, which doesn't happen every day, even living in Scotland. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. One of the things Islay is known for is the huge population of wintering geese. And no sooner had we arrived on the island than indeed we saw thousands of particularly barnacle geese, these lovely black and white, really characterful birds. We saw them grazing on feeding on the mud flats. We saw them grazing in the fields. We saw them flying around, wheeling around, and coming into land in big flocks, and they were just really great to see. Quite a spectacular sight. We would see lots of things among them. There were lesser numbers but still significant numbers of white-fronted geese, and both the barnacle geese and the white-fronted geese are Greenland populations in the breeding season that come down to Islay for the winter. And the white fronts were really nice to pick out. We saw a few pale-bellied Brent geese as well. A couple of less interesting but nonetheless worth mentioning grey lags and Canada geese. But a couple of quite rare birds that we picked out, other people noted and we were able to find, was a cackling goose, which is like a Canada goose but more like the size of a barnacle goose, and a lifer for me was a red-breasted goose, which I was really pleased to find on our last day on Islay. Easier to pick out among the geese were swans, and obviously mute swans, but quite good populations, good numbers of hooper swans as well, with their characteristic sort of straight neck, more goose-like proportions, and yellow bill. So yeah, Islay is definitely worth visiting for the wintering geese. We did see various species of mammal, of course, too. Actually 3 species of deer. Roe deer in small numbers. Red deer, not the numbers we had on the Isle of Jura, but still really good to see. And we took one really interesting, well, I took on my own. I decked out in full sort of camouflage and took a walk along the coast one morning and came across a male stag red deer with a small harem of hinds and young deer. And it was really nice to see them on the beach. It was quite a different setting to what we were seeing on Jura, where they were more on moorland, classical sort of Scottish red deer habitat. Here they were by the sea, and it provided more interesting backdrops for some of the photos. And then we also saw some fallow deer, and saw them in the woods, saw them out of the woods and along the road, and were able to get different shots and photos of them. Heard one male roaring, and it was quite a strange sound, I have to say, compared to what I'm used to with the red deer. Other mammals, hare and rabbits, quite common. At Ardnave Point, lots of rabbits. Really big numbers among the dunes. They seem to be everywhere. We also saw one night driving home a hedgehog. Picked it out in the car lights, and I went and took a really short video of it, but just sort of encouraged it off the road so we didn't hit it with the car. We didn't particularly go to look for for otter because we'd had such wonderful sightings on Jura. Another plug for the Jura video. So we didn't particularly go and looking for them, but they are obviously around Islay. And another mammal we saw and had sustained views of, and I'll put a bit of a clip in next, were the wild feral goats that you get on Islay, which were, yeah, I mean, they're obviously descendants of introduced goats, but they were really nice to see. They're obviously living a wildlife now, and they look pretty wild characters, some of the males especially with their big horns and shaggy hair, and they were all over the O Peninsula. So yeah, good numbers of mammals seen on the trip. One of my targets for visiting Islay for my year list was chough, and we saw them on several occasions. Probably the best location was at the northern point of the Ardnave Peninsula, and we did a walk around there, and we counted in one flock about, I think it was 17 chough. They sort of sound a bit like hyperactive jackdaws, but they were quite distinctive in their feeding behaviour, and they've got quite unique requirements for where they'll live, which is why they're not very well distributed in Scotland. But we also, in their flying behaviour, they were quite distinctive in a sort of wheeling pattern and how they interacted with each other in flight. So it was really lovely to see them. And we saw plenty of twite about the island, particularly at the south at O. They have some feeders at the car park there, and there were really good numbers, maybe about 30 twite coming and going, along with goldfinches and other birds. Quite like linnet, I guess, twite, but their yellow bills quite distinctive, and in the habitats where they're common, they're found in good numbers. It is said that the flock of twite on the O Peninsula might actually be the biggest flock of twite in Britain. And it was certainly good to see the numbers that we did see there. Another bird we saw on the O Peninsula was a late wheatear, which I picked its white rump up in flight, and then was able to video it briefly, just sort of, I guess, feeding before heading south with migration. I was really chuffed to see a female brambling among a flock of maybe 200-300 mixed finches, mainly chaffinches, but other finches in there as well. Yeah, found this one brambling, and it took me ages to actually get a little video clip of it in a tree because it kept moving, and it was hard to pick it out. Another late bird we saw were two swallows. I didn't video them, but two swallows flying over the distillery at Bowmore. Yeah, so some nice passerines. We spent a bit of time sea watching in the sheltered bay opposite Bowmore, and saw lots of nice, interesting birds. The main one that was close enough to film were red-throated diver, and I'll put some footage here now. But we did also see black-throated diver, Slavonian grebe. We saw a little gull. We saw some scoter, common scoter. So yeah, quite a few interesting birds on the water. In terms of waders, all the usual waders you would expect: curlew, both black-tailed and bar-tailed godwit, red shank, green shank, turnstone and common ring plover. Lots of golden plover, big flock of golden plover wheeling around and on the shore, so that was really nice. Another bird we saw on mudflats were little egret at different points on the island, and particular in the loch by Ardnave Point we counted 9 little egret at one point, which was quite good numbers, I thought. Didn't get them all in one shot, but I think we got 7 in one shot, and they were nice to see, feeding, going about their life as their territory, their range has expanded north over the last few years. So yeah, lots to see around the coast as well. I'm going to end just by concluding about some of the raptors that we saw on the island, and falcons. We saw merlin a couple of occasions, not able to film it. It's a very elusive bird. It tends to leave as soon as you arrive. But we saw that from the car. We saw hen harrier as well, both male and female ringtails. And on the last day, I was able to get some okay, not great, but okay photos of the hen harrier, which was good to see. Lots of buzzards on the island, kestrel, peregrine, all quite often, most days we would see a combination of those. But of course the highlights of coming to Islay and islands like it, like Mull, is to see the eagles, and we saw them in good numbers. Most days, I think every day probably, we saw eagles of one type or another. We took a walk on the O Peninsula, and as we approached the cliffs, we saw a distant view of a golden eagle. And I'm actually going to clip back to that moment and share as we approached and we saw that golden eagle, which was one of the highlights of the trip. So we've just seen a golden eagle out here on the O Peninsula on the south of Islay. We're trying to get a little bit closer. You can see this headland and beach behind me, and we're going to go out onto this little green peninsula behind me and see if we can get a bit closer to this eagle to digiscope it. So let's see what we get. We did see lots of white-tailed eagles on Islay as well. Every day I think we saw white-tailed eagles. We saw them from our accommodation, we saw them when we were driving out. But two particular sightings stand out. One was seeing them among the geese and putting the geese up, and then landing, the Barnacle Goose this is, and then landing on the mudflats and just making themselves at home. And then a very brave hooded crow came and tweaked their tail. But yeah, just wonderful to see these apex predators that are actually starting to specialise in taking the barnacle geese in winter. You can't blame them really. I mean, it's such a tough life in winter on Islay, and these geese are such a food bonanza, and so these eagles tend to take barnacle geese, and there's such good numbers of them. I'm sure it doesn't make any impact on their population at all. The other sighting of whitetails I remember was on the south side of the island, driving along, and one flew over and we parked the car and got out, and it was just flying over us, soaring around, not really bothered about us. The video's mainly silhouetted, but just seeing the barn door profile, that just sort of solid, broad plank of the wings coming out, such a big bird. That was just a spectacular sighting towards the end of our trip. So yeah, Islay is a really great location for eagles. I'd really encourage you to go there. I'm brand new to YouTube. If you enjoy this video, please click like. Please click subscribe, leave a comment. I'm going to reply to all of them, and really like to make connections through this channel. And I'll be sharing a new video here soon.